Our state has some incredible problems. My name is Lynn Hinderrocker. I'm here to talk about that with you and talk about the trends that have shaped this state and dragged us in one direction or another. We're not really we're not realizing the dream we had way back in the early 2000s or even around 2008 or 9 or 10. My name is Lynn Hinderrocker. Welcome to WowBiz, Nebraska. We're going to get it on right now. The times, they are a-changing. Welcome to WowBiz, Nebraska. I'm Lynn Hinderrocker, and we have got so much to visit with you about. That's why I brought along my commentator, my buddy, my cohort, Mr. Bruce Arendt.
Thank you. You started with some Bob Dylan there.
Yeah, the times. All right, now listen. A lot's going on here. I'm going to hold up the cover of Time magazine. I should have done it a little bit earlier. That's kind of setting the tone for the conversation. This is a tough conversation to have with all of us. Observing it and having our own opinions about what's going on in America today. But I want to show this, the Hate in America headline. I think it's a fascinating time because we are in a recruiting time. Here we are as the pandemic starts to wind down. Many people are thinking it might be kind of coming to an end finally, right, after 16, 17 months. We're looking at maybe July, hopefully this summer, where it feels mostly normal. Mm-hmm. But we've had a very abnormal, of course, period of time here recently, and particularly around January 6th, as we know. Right. So here's the question, Bruce, that I want to put to you. What if you're trying to build your employee base, trying to get your culture pulled together? Some of them are working at home. It's a hybrid model. Some of them are in the office now. They feel pretty safe about it, but a lot of these people haven't really seen each other or talked face-to-face for a year.
Right.
Yeah, right. So, and a lot of them come from different backgrounds, rural, urban, and so on. So what do you do if you're a CEO and maybe the HR person, in the company? Do you approach your culture? Do you start differently? Do you say anything about this? Are you nervous about it? You've got quite a diverse culture. Right. Probably some people would lean to the left, some to the right. What do you think about all this?
It probably depends on what type of a business you're in, for one thing.
Okay.
That would have some influence on it.
Sure.
If it were me, and not that this is the right answer, if we were finally on such and such a day, we're going to all come back together to work, I would just sit down with everybody.
Yeah.
And we would welcome everybody back in, of course.
Right.
But I think I would want to address the fact that, look, this has been a crazy year.
Yes.
In a lot of aspects.
So get it out in the air.
Yeah, get it out there and say, there's so much stuff and so much turmoil in the country. What we want to do here, we want this place to be a safe place for all of us.
Safe place, first of all.
And we want it to be a place where we aren't going to have a lot of upheaval and turmoil, because there's enough of that on the outside these walls. Okay. And so inside these walls, let's do our work. Let's make this company and our work, our individual goals and work, be as great as they can be, but we're going to leave all that stuff to the outside. We're not going to
get into all that
stuff here. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do after work. Go sit down and have a beer and talk about politics, but we're not going to do that here. That's how I would do it.
Okay, now, I think that's a good answer, and probably 80% of the audience is going, yeah, I agree with Bruce.
But what about the other 20?
Well, no, just listen for a second. In addition to that,
okay,
there is cultural pressure, and I mean pressure, for companies especially of any size, to focus on diversity and, quote, inclusion.
Sure.
Okay. So that means possibly now that you're going to be paying a lot of attention, looking for a minority person or two or three to sit on the board or sit on the management team, right?
Right. Sure.
Oh, yeah. But what if you do that and then there's somebody over here, just a Caucasian or whatever, and they go, well, they're getting chosen over me because, they're a person of color, and I have more, experience and and seemingly a little more skill there, but they're getting chosen because now that's what everybody's doing in our culture. Yeah. In fact, that really irritates me, right? And I'm not going to stand for it. I'm either going to quit, and there's other people around me that think I should have gotten promoted, but you chose that person of color or that woman or that person that's an LGBT, whatever it is.
Right.
Because that's kind of cultural pressure, and that's the media, and that's a bunch of hype, and I'm not going to go for that, and I don't want to work here anymore. Okay? That could happen.
Yeah, it certainly could happen.
We might be staging, creating there's going to be some tumult there.
There's going to be. I think that some of that's going to be unavoidable. It just is.
Because the board of directors is going to tell you, the CEO, let's get tuned in now. We got to,
Yeah.
you know, as many companies are doing, they want greater diversity in the workforce and particularly in the management level.
Sure.
And out of that, by the way, one of the great things that can come, in my opinion, is innovation. You got to innovate your way out of the situation. There's just no way. Right. You can't go back to the same old plan and say, well, they always liked our lawnmowers and they're going to like them now and we'll be fine and, you know, everything's cool.
Yeah.
Right. Probably not going to work as well as it did. So you've got to innovate and think about, maybe we should have a new product line or a new lawnmower bag or some new process, or maybe those super cool ones that don't have any engine at all.
Right.
You know, a lot of people are into that because there's sustainable, you know, and just clippings that are nice.
Right. I remember using that on my grandma's lawn way back in the day.
Anyway, I don't want to belabor this point, but I just want to say that the employee culture issue is really something.
It's a
right
sticky
now.
wicket.
I'd like to have somebody in to chat with us sometime.
Yeah.
HR person, whatever. All right, now, Bruce Aaron, you know, we've been talking about this word urban natural over time, and we're talking about people, you know, here, of course, and their opinions and so on. So I want to have like a reveal moment. You ever had something that you take off the black felt cover and there's a box, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Kind of a reveal. And I'm sure people are sitting home saying, you know, they keep saying these urban natural people and, you know, what this urban natural thing is and who are they? And do we really want to sell something to them? Right. So we've got some research here from a great researcher named Paul Ray out of California. He did this research some time ago, and he believes, it's a pretty interesting idea, so we'll try to keep it quick, but especially if you're into marketing, or selling or recruiting or whatever, you want to listen carefully at this moment. This gentleman, Paul Ray, said there are three basic, there's subsets, but three basic kinds of people in America today, all right? One is the Heartlanders. Of course, here we are in the Heartland, so we know what that's about.
Right.
These are basically traditionalists, you know, and more conservative, et cetera, and we'll talk about the specific qualities. Then there are modernists. Okay?
Meaning?
Modernists are basically achievement-oriented people, okay? Business-oriented success, achievement, get ahead, do better this year than we did last year.
Okay.
Now, these are very familiar values to you and I. We've come up through many businesses that are like this.
Exactly.
Right? And they want people working for them that don't think about that much other than, I mean, you know, their families or whatever, but they are really, we want hard-charging, double-digit growth every year if we can.
We're bottom-line people.
That's right. That's right. And everything else is second to that.
Right.
Now we come to the urban naturals, right? Which is really the third group. And what they are, according to Paul Ray, is kind of half a drib of this and a drib of that. In other words, they cobble together a belief system.
Kind of a conglomeration of different...
Of both.
Okay.
There are traditionalist elements. And there are certainly modernist elements.
Okay.
But there are other, when they pull them together, then they end up with a soup that's different.
Okay.
If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll elaborate here, okay? So the traditionalists, for instance, the top things that are most important to Heartlanders and traditionalists, and again, I want to emphasize we're not putting down any of these.
No,
this is
they're
just
all
the
valid.
world as it is.
Yeah.
And we've got to figure out a way to do business with these people. Heartlanders, 70% of them belong to the religious right.
Okay.
Traditional relationships, 55% of them believe in that. Conservative religious beliefs, 53%. Conventional religious beliefs, religion's coming up a lot here, obviously. And then against feminism in work, 46%.
Huh.
So against feminism in work is an interesting thing.
So they don't want women in management?
They believe that a woman should be secondary to her husband, should serve her husband, serve the family.
Okay, I thought you were talking about business or
well, not particularly.
Okay.
More generally speaking, they're not for feminism.
I see.
They believe that women have a specific place that was designated from religious references or sources. Okay, we know about that. So quickly now we go on to the modernists, which most marketing plans are built to speak to and convey modernist values, which may not be exactly ideal anymore, see? So they're all, 82% care about financial materialism. Their number one thing is financial materialism. Want to make some money.
Yep. Okay.
55% say they are not on the religious right. 51% say they don't care about self-actualization. don't care about, finding their highest self and all that stuff.
That's interesting.
Interesting. 49% said they are not altruistic. They don't give things to charities or worry about that kind of stuff.
Okay.
All right. 48%, they're cynical about politics.
Okay.
44% say they are not idealistic. Okay. This is. I know a lot of people like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they strike fear in my heart. Secular, or the fact that nature is sacred, they're not into that. 42% of them say they don't believe that. They don't care about that. They're orthodox. Success is high priority. 36% say that. It's very important. So if they want the money first, 82%.
I was going to think that was going to be higher than 36%.
Well, success is not the same as money. They'd rather have the money than worry about dare to be great.
Okay.
Okay, you know what I mean? That's what I think it's all about. Okay. Hedonism, by the way, is 12%. It makes the list. Okay. Now we get to the urban naturals.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to wrap up here and have our little break in a minute, but this is very important for us to think about. The number one thing, 92% of them put first at the top of the list of their priorities in their life is rebuilding neighborhoods and communities. Isn't that something?
92%?
92%?
Huh.
87% of them say they fear violence. Fear violence. So they're probably not going to be carrying guns, right? They don't want to.
Right.
They're not into that. They like foreign places and exotic places to go.
Okay.
85% of them. Nature is sacred. 85% of them believe that nature is sacred. 83% in general, green is great.
Okay.
Values that are green. Ecological sustainability, more, 83%. Wow. More of this, right? We're hearing 3 in a row. Voluntary simplicity.
Meaning?
Simplicity.
Oh, simplicity.
Well,
Okay.
Oprah said, choose the 100 things in your whole life and your lifestyle that you care about, and then throw everything else away. That's Oprah Winfrey. Huh. That's very inspirational to these kinds of people. All right, we're wrapping up here. Relationships are important. Success is not high priority. 70% of them say success is not really high priority.
What do they think of money?
Well, we'll see. They're for feminism. Okay. Definitely. They're not concerned about their job. Right, 62%.
Interesting.
They put in the work, but not a big deal. Altruism, very important. Idealism. Listen to this. Religious mysteries exist. 53%. It's a lot of people that believe in religious mystery. Esoterica, right, basically. Fascinating. Self-actualization, huge. Not financial materialism. Don't care about it. They want to be an activist. They don't want to have financial problems. Spiritual psychology, very important to them. Now, we're talking about 50 million people here.
I was going to say, what's the breakdown in terms of population?
This is 38% of the population, these cultural creators. That's 50 million people. Huh. One of the biggest voting blocs in America. Right. I think many of our viewers right now are going, wow, I didn't know. How do we sell to these people?
Right.
What do they want from us?
They want something.
They want many things.
Sure.
But they have to be packaged and sold in a very different way.
Right.
Yes. Are we having a good time? This is fantastic. Thank you for watching WowBiz Nebraska. I'm Lynn Hinderrocker, Bruce Aaron. We are bubbling with new information, new insight, new knowledge. We're going to share it with you. We're eager to go on with this. We've got much more high quality stuff.
That is high quality
Well,
stuff.
we'll come back and talk more about this at our next show. We've got more and more to talk about.
Yeah, always do.
Always do. But let's talk for a moment about who brings this show together and what's going on there, shall we?
Who does?
Who in the world would, right? No, actually, I got to tell you something. I have a deep intuitive feeling that this show is gaining a broader audience. Okay. I think we're doing better. I had a very interesting man rush up to me in a grocery store, say, "Aren't you Lynn?" I said, "I'm Lynn." Yes. He says, "Don't you have that business show? I love it."
Really?
Yeah, this is true. He says, "I watch it every week, faithfully." And I said, "Well, yeah, that's really nice. That's a very nice thing to say." He says, "It's so interesting." So now we're going to have an interesting promo. All right, so here we go. This show is brought to you by Growth Dynamics here in the Omaha area, although Growth Dynamics works all over the country depending on who they're talking to. Growth Dynamics is a fusion of a classic management consulting firm and an advertising agency. So we call it a Cagency. It's a fusion of those two words,
okay.
right? And what we love about Growth Dynamics is the fact that they can analyze a problem by asking a lot of very thoughtful and incisive questions.
Right.
But then they can come back shortly thereafter with several creative solutions for the problem.
And execute.
And execute, actually stay on site. We're not
Right.
necessarily the guy that you talk to 1 hour a week as a coach. We can do that, by the way, but really Growth Dynamics is there to put their feet on the ground, boots on the ground, and actually implement the plan that we inspire the plan, kind of facilitate the plan, and then execute it as well. Now, this is something most people don't know, and I don't believe there's anything like it in this area. And what we do is this. We usually try to talk the client into research, okay? Which means, and we do qualitative research, not quantitative research, which essentially means we line up 30-minute personal one-on-one interviews behind closed doors with their customers.
So very targeted.
Very targeted, and we're going to get past all the BS and get to the heart and soul, how they feel about the company. Mm-hmm. They can tell you, oh yeah, they perform pretty good on a scale of 1 to 10. I'd give them an 8, and blah, 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 blah. But if we go into the metaphors and the symbols and say, are they more of a Ford F-150? If they were a vehicle, would they be a Ford F-150 or would they be a Lexus?
Huh.
Now that's the kind of question, and we ask numerous questions. And then they go, well, they probably would be a Ford F-150. Why do you say that?
Yeah.
Right? Now we dig. So when we come back with a report for the client, we have deep insight, not only to their strengths and weaknesses, but to the motivations and things people associate them with. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a valuable profile.
Oh, it's tremendous. And then that will drive activity coming out of that, you know. Then now we know what the priorities are, right? So anyway, that's that's not cultural creatives. Those are, that is Growth Dynamics. So keep in mind, go to the website, growthdynamics.org, check out the blog, check out all the various skill sets that we provide. You'll see some interesting background there about urban naturalism as well as Nebraska, which we talk about often here. So check out Growth Dynamics, and if you need some help getting out of the pandemic passivity, now would be actually a great time to call on growthdynamics.org. All right, we're back with Bruce Aaron. And we were on a roll, weren't we? I was just like, I felt like I was on one of those ski ramps. You know, you see the boat out in the lake, and you hit that ramp, and you go, whee! You know, it's like, all right. Anyway, enough of that craziness.
I was thinking about the beginning of Wide World of Sports way back. And remember the guy crashing down that?
Oh. And then they had the music and the dramatic text. And everything. It was just
fantastic.
Fantastic, absolutely. You know, I want you now to work with me as a strategic planner. Can you do that?
I can do that.
All right, and we can work together. We both come from corporate environments where we've had to contribute to plans and the future and all that. Now, what we're doing here is we're doing entrepreneurial stuff. I'm sure you're not surprised. We're building a new business model around this urban natural idea.
Okay.
We talked about these urban natural people, how different they are. In Omaha, Nebraska, just as one example, there's 61,000 urban natural people, okay? That's a fair amount, but remember, we're talking about 50 million across the country,
right.
So there's 61,000, and that's a lowish number, by the way. I think there's closer to 6 figures.
Was that derived through
that would
research?
Well, yeah, absolutely. We talked to a list company and did some sorts and so on.
Yeah.
We came up with certain variables.
61,000.
Yeah, 61, and they use bike paths a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. They agreed that they would pay a small premium for a green product, pay a little extra.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Interesting.
So then the next thing is, of course, is to map them out and to know if they have clusters, are they in this zip code or that, you know.
Right.
So we got to do that, but our quest now, and you tell me, I want you to be hardcore now, and you're not a hardcore guy.
So I can be.
You can be?
Yeah,
Okay. Well,
you haven't seen that. So.
I'm actually worried about this now. Is to really be the catalyst to match buyers with sellers, right? Okay. So we would go to vendors, retailers, you know, people that have something to sell, and it could be in B2B as well. So I mean, it could be you know, an office, whatever.
Right.
And we tell them that in your trading area, based on our research and so on, there's oh, you know, there's 472 homes that are probably housed by Urban Natural people.
Okay.
Within, you know, 5 minutes of the store.
Okay.
All right. And so what they're going to pay us to have some merchandising and ID, and they're saying, we're an Urban Natural store. Mm-hmm. We believe in the values that these certain people believe in. We believe in green. We do some sustainability things and some recycling. We have certain products and services here that would appeal to those people.
Right.
And we want to do more of that. And so it would be our job then to get those people through direct mail and Facebook ads and so on, to try to get those people to come to, what would you call it? Like a kind of a reception or party,
Okay.
neighborhood-oriented thing.
Okay.
And they come in and they meet the vendor and socialize and trade business cards. And then it would be responsible for us to facilitate a conversation, you know? And we think it would probably be community or neighborhood-oriented conversation.
Okay.
And get people kind of engaged, meet the owner, and he or she is going to give them an incredible discount on their first purchase. They have to agree to do this. So it's really an outrageous giveaway or something like that.
Sure.
So they really take advantage of that. And then so they would join, the vendors would be part of the Urban Natural community, and the individuals, then they would sign up. We want them to sign up, and it would be like $5 or $6 a month, I think. Something like that, you know.
So that you could be in this, more connected with that community.
Yes,
Okay.
and they could go online and say, now I met Susie and Harry a couple of months ago at that place, and they're Urban Natural, and we're Urban Natural. Hi, how you doing? I saw your kids the other day, you know, whatever.
Right.
So there can be some dialogue. The vendor can send anybody, anyone, or all of them a little message of some sort saying we're doing something special for all the Urban Natural people in the area. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now, would there be obviously several vendors?
Oh.
I mean,
You got to think carefully about the types of, it could be coffee shops.
Sure.
Landscapers, swimming pool vendors, you know.
Right.
How about organic bakeries? Perfect.
Absolutely.
Right. I went today and talked to Great Harvest Bakery and Cafe, talked to the owners who've been there 30 years. He loved it.
Well,
he loved it. He liked the idea, being part of the community.
Right up their alley. Really.
He said that's our customer.
Yeah.
So what do you think? I mean, it's going to take a lot of hustle. You're going to have to create this website, going to get everybody involved, you're going to have to constantly be doing local trading area direct mail and do you think we can get people to come into these businesses at, you know, 6 or 6:30 or 7 o'clock at night and, you know, schmooze and meet? Do you think that's possible?
Of course, I'm hopeful that it would be, but here's the thing, and I think there's something inside of me that tells me that people are ready at some level to live in a small town within the big town.
Yeah?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
A smaller connected community, because everybody's, I think, a lot of people are kind of sick of the whole, you know, cookie cutter type
We all
business.
feel diminished by the way society is evolving and technology. And
Right.
We're all diminished. We're smaller. And we want to just have voluntary simplicity and relationships and be important to somebody.
Something a little bit
other
more,
than our kids.
Right, something a little bit more meaningful than just the franchised, you know, stamp out this and that, and it's a little bit more creative.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think that's an attractive, this is a good time for this.
And I would think that people would be attracted to that type of an event.
Okay.
I mean, that's just me.
What would you think that the key factor for success would be? And then we'll move on to one other thing. What do you think? You're going to grab me by the arm and say, Lynn, I think you're on a good idea, but make sure that you do this. What would that be, Bruce?
You know, it still comes down to if people see a value to personally.
Yeah.
So if there are discounts and things like that, and something that they can, you know, it's one thing to have a nice relationship with the vendor, but if you're actually going to come in there and you're going to get some type of a real benefit, some type of a discount or something, you know, that still speaks to people.
Yeah,
I mean, it speaks to
I
everybody.
think so. What if we get a vendor who's a member and he doesn't put up his stand and he doesn't have the Urban Natural sticker on the bottom of the register or on the front door, or doesn't put it on his website because he's too busy or whatever?
Yeah.
What should we do with a guy like that or gal? Just let it go, or, you know, because we're going to spend hundreds of dollars on beautiful banners that they have to have up in their showroom or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about that?
Well,
Kick his butt out?
time will
He won't get the customers.
Time will take care of it because that's exactly what will happen. He won't get the results.
Yeah, they'll drift away because he's not heavily identified.
There's always going to be attrition, in a group like that.
Yeah, I hate attrition. All right, well, anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate the feedback. Let's talk about something here before we wrap up this show. It's been a good show. Thank you, Bruce. I really appreciate your opinion so much. You know that. And I get many people saying, that Bruce is smarter than you think. He might be smarter than you.
Smarter than he looks.
But here's the thing. We're talking about this a little bit, but America is evolving, and one of the things the business sector is evolving about is franchising.
Okay.
We see franchising operations everywhere we go, you know. And even as you get into small towns in Nebraska, you're seeing, Family Dollar as a franchise.
Subway is everywhere.
Subway is everywhere. All these kinds of places,
Right.
And everybody goes, oh, this is really great, And of course, if you're a franchise operator, and I've been in the business a long time, they want more volume because that pushes down their operational costs and more profit.
Sure.
The problem that I have with this is that when you join a system like that, I did this with Beauty First, the beauty industry, and watched them carefully. And it was always, here's the operational, do the operational manual, follow it page by page. If they say this, then you say that. Merchandise it just like this. The bottles are over here. Right. Everything had to be according to the book.
Right.
And if you walk in and say, well, what about blah, 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 and they go, I don't know, it's not in the book. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
And they're proud of the fact that they don't have an answer. And I'm calling out the franchise industry right now and telling me, you're dumbing down our employees. You're dumbing down our children. There's no creative thinking at all.
There's no denying it's a successful business model, but the collateral damage is the personalities and the creativity of your employees.
Yeah, and they stay in those jobs their entire life and go, boo. All right, so that's the end of our show. WowBiz Nebraska, I'm Lynn Hinderrock, it's Bruce Aaron. Now you got that final icon of wisdom and insight dripping off our lips. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time here with Bruce Aaron on WowBiz Nebraska. Thank you so much for watching.